It's Friday, December 10th, 2021. If you needed any more evidence that there is no connection between reality and the illusion, between the stock market and the real economy, you just got more of it today, okay? You know, if this wasn't so serious, I would laugh, but there is nothing here to laugh about. Inflation surged 6.8% in November, even more than expected, to the fastest rate since 1982. A couple questions. How long can the average consumer hang on? And what's the real inflation number right now? No doubt, I would go more on the side of John Williams at shadowstats.com. And last I checked, it was around 15, a little bit over 15%, according to Mr. Williams. Again, this would be funny, ladies and gentlemen, but there's nothing here to laugh at all. People are really, really getting hurt. And I don't know how much longer people are going to be able to hang on, because we know, you know, and I know that real inflation in November was much higher than 6.8%. But even at 6.8%, that is doing enormous damage to the average American and to the middle class of this country. I want to go over some of these numbers with you. And if you think this is funny, laugh at it. I don't think this is funny at all. Energy prices have risen 33.3% since November 2020, including a 3.5% surge in November. Gasoline is up 58.1%. Food prices have jumped 6.1% over the year, which again, I can't even believe that number. I don't think there's anything at the grocery stores that I visit that's only gone up 6.1%. Everything has gone up literally double digits. So I think food prices have jumped much more than they're saying. Used car and truck prices are up 31.4%, following a 2.5% increase last month. Apparel up 5%. So as we head into the holiday season, you are going to pay more for the gifts. You are going to pay more for the gasoline to go out and shop for the gifts. You're going to pay more to go stay at that hotel, to put gas in the car, to go visit relatives, to jump on an airplane. It's going to cost more. Everything, the food that you eat at the restaurant is going to cost more this holiday season. Again, there is nothing funny at all going on here, ladies and gentlemen. People are really, really getting decimated. And I know that, you know, people just think like, oh, this is no big deal. People laugh. Ladies and gentlemen, this is getting out of control. It's getting out of hand. CNBC today, Fed is expected to speed up end of bond buying and signal interest rate hikes, which are coming. That on CNBC. If the Fed decides to taper bond purchases more quickly, it could also begin to raise interest rates faster. How many people out there told you and I this would never happen? They're not going to raise. People still denying it, fighting it. The Fed can't do it. The debt's too big. They don't have a choice, ladies and gentlemen. They don't have a choice. And this is where I believe the rubber is about to meet the road. When they begin to taper and we begin to see rate increases. What kind of effect is this going to have on the housing market, the stock market, credit? It is going to be much more expensive to borrow money. And this is gonna really bring things into some realm, I guess, of reality. Now, how much will they raise rates? How many times will they raise rates? And how long can they keep those rates up before they reverse it and go back to buying up everything again? Will they do that? I don't know. Nobody knows. We are in a time now of the unknown. Nobody has a crystal ball. The Fed holds its two-day meeting on December 14th and 15th, where it is expected to discuss spending speeding up the wind down of its bond buying program. Also, we're going to see important data coming in next week. Retail sales report will be in, the industrial production report will be in, and producer price inflation numbers will be in next week also. So this could have an influence on the Fed and what it is going to do. But we're being told that there's only, 4.2% unemployment. We're being told that it's a booming economy. Life couldn't be more grand. So I guess they're going to have to raise interest rates. Everybody's working and the economy's booming. So it is time to raise rates, ladies and gentlemen. There was an article that came out a few days ago on CNBC, and it was an interview with Ray Dalio, the hedge fund giant, the Bridgewater co-chairman and co-chief investment officer. Now, this guy's worth, $25 billion. I don't agree with everything he says, but there's no doubt the guy's a brilliant man, and he is expecting big trouble. He is warning of a new economic catastrophe, which he says is on the horizon. And I just want to paraphrase through this article. I took a few notes I want to share with you on his insight of things. He says he wants to be prepared as he sees war with China becoming more of a possibility due to a misunderstanding. He believes the trade war with China could get worse. The trade war cost Americans 300,000 jobs in just the first year. The trade war has cost American companies $1.7 trillion in market capitalization. And when I read those numbers, I just said to myself, how many jobs have we lost in the last 4 decades to China? How much market capitalization have we lost to China in the last 4 decades? But when you see this number, that the recent trade war cost 300,000 jobs in just the first year, it's a huge number. And Mr. Dalio gives a couple tips. He says, assess your financial risk. Worrying, he says, prompts you to take a close look at your own personal risk and encourages you to take action. So maybe it's time to worry a little bit. You know, people go, oh, don't worry. Don't be paranoid. Don't be scared. No, this is the time to be concerned. It's the time to be worried, because when you get a little nervous, when you get worried, when you get concerned, it encourages you to take action. When you know there's a tornado coming, you're going to hunker down in the cellar. You're going to get what you need to get. You get the family down in the cellar and you hunker down because you know the tornado is coming. The tsunami's coming. You know, you do what you have to do. You get out of danger. And you assess the risk, right? And so we should all be assessing our financial risk right now. He says, where you live could be a risk. Moving is worth considering under financially worrying circumstances. So, you know, I think a lot of people who've had the option to get out of certain areas have done that. And a lot of people right now, at least in this state, right now are having that talk with their families and their loved ones about getting out of this state. We're seeing an exodus out of California, and I believe in the next 12 months we're going to see an even larger exodus out of California, myself being included. He says you need your emergency savings to be funded by a safe, well-diversified portfolio. Figure out how many weeks you could financially survive if you lost your job. Cover your worst case scenario. See, that's a problem that so many people have because they don't believe anything bad can happen to them. They don't believe an emergency can take place in their life. They don't believe that they could lose a job. They don't believe a spouse could lose a job. That's fine if you don't lose your job, but what if your spouse loses their job? Your life is going to change. Your standard of living is going to change. So make sure, he says, that your money is not all in one place, and make sure that you have that emergency fund put away in case you or a spouse loses a job. Ladies and gentlemen, there are no guarantees in life, and certainly we are now in uncharted water. Anything is now possible. Just look out your window. He says your portfolio should be diverse, ranging from index bonds to things like physical gold. Yes, that's right. the multi-billionaire Ray Dalio says you should be in physical gold. Ray Dalio is in cryptos too. I believe he owns some crypto, but he says he only owns it to be diversified. But he doesn't have much faith in it. He's not a big believer in it, but he owns it because he's just being diversified. So I think that's great advice. But you're listening here to a guy worth $25 billion telling you that you should own some physical gold. For me personally, it's all about having the debt paid off. It's about having that emergency fund of cash. It's about having physical gold, physical silver. It's about having security. It's about having the right network of friends. It's about having a skill set that as things get bad, you know how to do things so that you're still employable. People will still pay you because of your skill set. So things like that I think are very, very important. But getting back to the last thing that Ray Dalio said, I just got this literally 10 minutes before I made this video today. And this came from SD Bullion. Just going to open this up real quick. It's a purchase I made last week. It is 1 gold Philharmonic and 1 buffalo. Correct? I couldn't even get 2 buffaloes when I ordered because they would only allow you to order 1 buffalo. So I had to get a Philharmonic too. So these things right here, Ray Dalio is talking about. Now, these will go to a very safe location where they are very, very safe, that I will be able to access them anytime I need to. I think accessibility is extremely important. We don't talk about that enough, but you know, you put these assets, you put your cash somewhere, it has to be accessible, right? Accessible. And if it's not, just like if it's on a computer screen and you can't get to it when you need to get to it, that's going to be a problem. So make sure that your money and your assets are accessible. That's extremely important. So much to think about, ladies and gentlemen. And as I wrap this up today, markets are still open, and everything across the board is up. Dow Jones, last I checked, was up 185 points. Don't know exactly where it's going to close, but what a complete fraud this whole thing is. It's so fake, so manipulated. How in the world, ask yourself this, how in the world could the markets be up today when we are looking at November inflation at 6.8% and climbing? 4.4 million people the last 2 months, 8.6 million people quit their jobs. We've been losing 1 million jobs a month to people having forced to file first-time jobless claims. So people losing their jobs, people quitting their jobs, inflation running wild, shortages like crazy. We've got 100 ships still sitting off the West Coast here waiting to be unloaded. And markets are up. Everything is okay, right? Very, very concerning, very, very worrying when you see this kind of mass manipulation taking place. And now the talk of interest rates going up, the talk of the tapering, less bond purchases, less mortgage-backed securities being purchased. This is not going to be good for the market, and this certainly is not going to be good for most people. But we are now at a dead end where something has to be done. If the Fed doesn't do anything, your dollar bills are going to be worthless, and I cannot stress enough to be betting against the debt and owning stuff like this. When I see the travesty, the criminality that's taking place on Wall Street today, that just has been continuing now for decades, there's no doubt that you've got to be protecting your wealth. And I know that there's a lot of people out there that love to gamble in these Ponzi schemes and love to gamble in fairy dust type cryptos. And hey, do what you believe you have to do. I'm going to diversify as much as I can, but I'm diversifying into things like this. SD Bullion, I have a link down below if you're interested in a very reputable place to buy from. That's where I got this from. I don't care where you buy gold and silver from. I don't care if you buy gold and silver. I don't care what you do. That's up to you. That's your own personal business. I'm just a person out here with a camera, and a microphone, sharing with you how I'm preparing for the worst economic collapse, which has already begun, which is going to evolve into the worst depression America has ever seen. And I truly, personally believe that you need to be holding more than fairy dust. You need to be holding more than pieces of paper, IOUs. You need to be holding more than debt. You need to be holding something real. So I'm going to leave it there today. God bless all of you. Thanks for watching. Take this weekend and prepare a little bit, whether that's a couple cans of food or a case of water or an ounce of silver or an ounce of gold, or just adding to your medical kit, a trauma kit, extra vitamins, protein powders, working on a skill set, whatever, working on your body, getting closer to God. Do something this weekend to get a little bit more prepared, because the more prepared you are, the more proactive you are, the less reactive you're going to have to be. So many people are going to be taken by surprise because they thought this could never happen. And they continue to buy in to the system, to buy into the illusion. Ladies and gentlemen, get out of your bubble right now and get ready. Time is running out. Prepare, prepare, prepare.